So I'm thinking presentations have become a very, very important part of all our corporate careers, right? So giving a good presentation, giving the right presentation can be the difference between success and failure for so many people out there. Which is why we've decided to talk about fantastic tips that you can use to give a great presentation at work. Hi, I'm Rima and we're here to learn how you can give a great presentation. Now, it's not very difficult if you follow these simple tips that I have for you. Tip number 1, know your audience. Okay, what does that mean? Now, it doesn't mean that you have to go and make friends with your audience. It means you have to know who they are. So let's say you're giving a presentation in the boardroom to, say, your marketing team. Now, you have to know what their interests are, what their age group is, what makes your presentation relatable to them. So if you're giving an example or a reference, you have to make it relatable to the marketing team in general for them to understand your point of view and for them to enjoy it and appreciate it and make your presentation successful. So if you know your audience well, they are going to make your presentation successful for you. Now, if you don't know your audience, you may think you give a great presentation, but let's say your audience didn't really associate with it, didn't really relate with it, which is why the end result of your presentation was not so great. So if you can take a few minutes out before your presentation, get to know exactly who's attending, who you are presenting to, what is their mindset, what is their thought process, what is their point of view in attending your presentation, I think that can really take your presentation a long way. The next tip I have for you is keep it short and simple. KISS. That's right. Now, if you're giving a presentation that's overly long or overly detailed or very complex, a lot of people are going to lose interest because you must know this, that the listening span of each person is different. It varies from person to person. Now, what you have to do is you have to make sure you have people's attention. And in order to grab that attention, it's important that you keep things simple, crisp, relatable, and really, really short. Now, I'm not saying that you get in and get out in a jiffy and finish your presentation in a minute's time. Obviously not. You cover all the points that you have to cover, but you make sure that you keep the whole thing brief, which will make it a very enjoyable experience for your audience, and that way they will think that your presentation was very interesting and you'll end up being a successful presenter. Now, the next tip I have for you in order to give a successful presentation is bring on the laughs. That's right. You must use humor in your presentation. Now, you'll tell me, but listen, the topic that I present on at work is so boring, it's so dry, it's so technical. It doesn't matter what you're presenting on. It's very important to use the humor element effectively so that you can give a great presentation. Now, what happens when you bring humor in your presentation? First thing, it kind of lightens the atmosphere in the room. It kind of relaxes your audience. It makes your audience, pay that much more attention because they get a sort of a break for a few seconds while the laughter's on, and then they're able to focus better on the remaining presentation. So if you have any witty one-liners that you're really good at, somehow try and incorporate them in your presentation. But I have a word of caution here. Make sure that the witty one-liners that you have are kind of related to work. Do not make personal jokes or personal jabs at any of your colleagues because that can be considered unprofessional, and that way you might end up offending people. So use humor in the right places to lighten the tension, to relax the atmosphere, and still keep your presentation very, very relevant. Now, the next thing I'm going to tell you that you need to do in order to give a great presentation is very simple. You can do this even if you're not prepared. You can use eye contact and posture. That's right. So now when you're giving a presentation to the audience, make sure that you're looking the audience in the eye. That's right. You're giving good eye contact and you're making the audience feel like you're talking to each one of them personally. Now, this eye contact will bring a personal touch to the whole presentation. At the same time, it will interest the audience. They will not be able to tune out of your presentation. They will not be able to get distracted and start looking at their phones or at their watches or other things. They will remain interested, and that will take your presentation a long way. The second thing that you need to do is you need to use your posture. Now, posture is a very, very important part of presenting. When I say use your posture, what I'm trying to say is I'm saying maintain a good, straight posture. That's right. Which means don't be overly casual. So don't be like really relaxed, because then, the audience will think you're too casual in your approach and they won't take your opinion or your presentation seriously. At the same time, don't be too stiff and intimidating, because that will also overpower the presentation and then they won't be able to relate to your presentation. Make sure that you're, maintaining straight posture. At the same time, you're friendly, open and approachable. So let's say one of the audience members has a question to ask. Now, your posture is going to be, a big reason why they may or may not ask that question. So if you're friendly and approachable, they're going to be able to raise a hand, interrupt you politely and ask a question. And that shows that they are interested in your presentation. So do not be too intimidating, do not be too casual, use your posture right, and yes, use those beautiful eyes. Make sure you're giving them eye contact, and that will take your presentation a long, long way. Now, the next tip you might want to use in order to give a great, effective presentation is a little difficult to follow because all of us do this, but I'm telling you, don't do it. Do not ever read from your slides. That's right. Now, you're going to be like, but I've put in so much effort, I've prepared so well, I want people to see my slides and I want to read from them. So, preparing well and putting in great effort in your presentation is all right. Making good slides is all right. But all I'm saying is don't read from your slides. Now, what happens when you read from your slides during a presentation? What happens is that people start concentrating only on the slide and they do not focus on your words. Plus, if people can read for themselves, why do you have to read to them? Makes sense, right? So when you flash a slide, let the slide be. The audience will read the slide for themselves. What you can do is you can provide further insights, further information regarding the slide which is not present on the slide. That way you'll come across as somebody who is better informed and somebody who is well prepared. So please remember, do not read from your slides. I know it's very tempting to do that, but make sure never ever to read from your slides. Now, the last and final tip I have for you is totally related to your own unique personality. I'm saying get creative. Now, presentations being presented the mundane, straightforward way is getting old nowadays. So if you want to do a presentation which is more creative, which is different, which is out of the box, go for it. Do not hesitate. Do not think twice. Do not think how your boss is going to react to it or maybe your colleagues won't like it. Go for the big haul. Go for the long haul. Make sure that you're using your creativity, be it introducing stories or using sound effects or using videos. You can actually go the whole hog in presentations. You can be creative as long as you are still staying on the topic and remaining relevant to the presentation. Now, if you're suddenly going to have a random video which is not related to the presentation, then yes, your presentation is going to be considered not effective. But if you're going to use in sound or maybe a little bit of music, not too much, I'm thinking videos, some sort of colors or some sort of lighting effects to make your presentation come alive, I think that's really going to work in your favor, because I think boring boardroom presentations are definitely a thing of the past. Well, I truly hope that you've enjoyed watching this video and now you're actually excited about giving a presentation and looking forward to your next business presentation. Do let me know how that goes. And this is me, Rima, signing out. I'm going to catch you very soon with yet another video. Till then, you subscribe to our channel and keep watching Skillopedia, the place to learn skills for the real world.